Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm really feeling blessed because after watching the video and seeing it to what the results actually were with just a MCL sprain, I'm really feeling blessed.
Dave, what's your recovery going to be like? Because it looked bad. You're right. When you watch it on film, obviously, we always say this is a cliche. It looks worse than it actually was. But what's the rehab going to be like for you?
Really just making sure that my knee is 100%. Got to go into facilities and, doing whatever they tell me because I do trust those guys, my trainers, to get me back 100.
Let me ask you this here, Dan. Again, awesome news. It looked like it snapped in 1,000 places. I actually cringed when I saw it because there were some other injuries that, that in the last couple, Lockett from Seattle, and you just worried. Dakar from the Raiders, it's brutal. So good for you, man. We wish you a healthy offseason, get yourself back. We all love watching you. I wanted to ask you about this here as we get ready for Wild Card Weekend. Obviously, you played the Seattle Seahawks twice in the same division, but you also played the Pats week 1 with Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
You played the Falcons with Matty Ryan, and you played Miami recently, and you lost by a couple of points. So give us a little something on that Miami defense that the average fan might not know. Do you think they can actually have a chance to win up in Pittsburgh this weekend?
Yeah, they are a good defense. And Domkin too is a handful to guy that's tough to block, and they're a young defense, and they fly around. They'll have a good opportunity, a good chance to make it a good game against the Pats.
It's funny when you think about the NFL, and I know this. I played 10 years, and you make the postseason. I made it as a rookie as well. And then you miss out, and all of a sudden your mind starts shifting to, God, I got to wait however many more months or weeks before we even get a chance to get back to this situation. How hard is it for you guys after the epic run you had, obviously losing to the Panthers in the NFC Championship game, to now have to sit out and wait a year before you get a chance to go redeem yourselves?
For me, it's tough because I'm young and I'm healthy or was, but I was very. And then my first year, I made it to playoffs. So, I'm very down on myself for, not doing as much as I could to help us get to the postseason. But, I'm definitely going to do as much as I can. The biggest thing is do as much as I can this offseason to make sure that I'm ready for everything that's thrown at me next year, whether that's lifting weights, definitely getting in the playbook, learning, and getting better for sure to get ready for next year.
Dave, I don't know how much more you could have done, man. You had 2,100 all-purpose yards. You had 80 receptions.
And your fault.
I know. Man, I love the ambition.
Very humble.
But you're selling yourself a little bit short. I mean, you are one of our favorites in the game because you do it all. And not very many backs are asked to do it all anymore, and you do it, and you do it well.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people, especially fans, would think that I've done it all, but especially in the beginning of the season, what they don't know is that I messed up on so many routes that I could have easily had 1,000 yards receiving. But there's two plays that I know for sure that literally is ingrained in my head. Against the Buccaneers, where I had a perfect route, or I had a route that I ran, that whole week going into that game, and I did not run it, and it was an easy reception it could have been for me, and Carson ended up almost throwing an interception off of it, and that's one play. And then against San Francisco was another route where I had another opportunity to catch the ball, and it was again another easy reception that I could have had, and I probably would have scored. But that stuff that people don't actually realize or don't pay attention closely. That stuff that really eats at me. That stuff, and then just blitz pick up. I remember against St. Louis when we played them at home, or not St. Louis, L.A. now. When we played them at home, I missed a blitz pickup to where Drew had to throw it sooner than he wanted to, and that ended up hurting our team. And so that's the stuff that I'm really talking about. That I really wish I could have had back. And then I'm going to, try to learn from those mistakes and move forward and get better.
Yeah, St. Louis, Arizona, St. Louis, LA doesn't matter. They still stink. They go to a different country. They're still going to be the Rams.
Yeah. and you had 157 yards against the 49ers and about 130 all-purpose against the Bucks. So,
and by the way, Teak, what I think we just learned about Mr. David Johnson, the young star for the Cardinals, who's with us here on Tiki and Tierney, is that not only is he very gifted, he's a gym rat.
yeah.
And that's a real nice attribute to have. And I wanted to ask you this, David. We talk to pretty much everybody on the show. And I think older sports fans are a little surprised to hear younger athletes say, in a moment of candor, which many times they will give us, that they don't necessarily watch games the way fans think they would. Are you, when you're not practicing and diving into the playbook and doing all the things you do to be better for the Cardinals, are you just a fan of the NFL? Are you watching? Are you going to watch this weekend?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch. And like people said, like you just said, I really don't watch it the same anymore. I do watch it more intensely, and I watch and see if a guy's offensive linemen are holding. I'm better at learning and watching and being like, oh, that flag, know what the flag was before the refs say it. And especially when it comes to guys that I played against or friends that are in the league, I watch those guys a little bit more and see what they do well, especially running backs that are excelling, like Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel. I'll try to watch Le'Veon Bell, see how he runs his routes, and try to pick up on some of the stuff that he does because he is a great pass catcher. So I do watch football games like I will watch this weekend a lot different than I used to.
Yeah, no, you're like me. When people ask me, you want to come over and watch the game, I very rarely do because I don't sit and watch it as a fan. I watch it as I'm analyzing things, and now that I have a 14-year-old son, and he's asking me how to identify defenses and coverages and stuff. I'm like, all right, this isn't over. You got the plus linebacker, and he's half looking at me like I'm crazy. But that's how I look at football because you spend so much time in meeting rooms. David, you played at Northern Iowa. Not a lot of people knew you coming into the league. You exploded onto the scene, scoring in all different kinds of ways as a rookie. And now as you look at yourself now, I mean, you are of that upper echelon elite running backs who can do it all. Who did you grow up trying to be like as a running back?
I grew up trying to emulate Matt Forte. But when I was very young, still in elementary, I was a big Emmitt Smith fan, and I loved the way he played the game. But, towards when I was young, it was really towards the end of his career. So I really couldn't watch his his prime time until YouTube, when I watched him on YouTube. But me growing up in Midwest, I watched Matt Forte a lot, especially since his ability to catch out of the backfield and be lined up as a receiver.
Yep.
He was one of the guys that really kind of held me on, knowing that I could also be a pass catcher, not just a dominant running back.
You know what I wanted to ask you along the lines of where you went to school? I remember a player that, I'm a big Jets fan, I always will be, which probably is not good for me. But Dedrick Ward was a kid who came out of your school back in the late 90s, a little wide out. Not a great player, but
I remember Dedrick.
Yeah, he was a little guy. He was okay. Played on with Vinny Testaverde. But I wonder.
He actually coached me.
What? I didn't know that.
Is that right?
Well, I guess it was. Yeah?
He was actually a coach, receiver coach.
Oh, that's cool. But here's what I wonder. Like a guy like you, and I know you're going to be humble and probably deflect this, but your talent level is clearly superior to most people in the NFL. How do you wind up at Northern Iowa? Did no big schools chase you down? How does that happen?
Well, I did go. I played football and grew up in Iowa. Went to a school that really wasn't known for their football team.
Mm-hmm.
So I really was doing a lot of stuff, playing all sorts of things, playing running and DB. So I was doing a lot. And,
yeah.
I think, and I wasn't that big. I was probably 6 foot, about 180 as a running back. I guess that really didn't help me. And so when colleges were recruiting me, they really did not know where I fit in because I was tall and lengthy, too tall and lengthy, I guess, to play running back. Then I played running back majority and receiver, so they didn't know if I was going to be a dominant receiver because my first thing was running back, but I also played receiver. So they really, most colleges who were looking at me just had me as an athlete. And I remember talking to Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, and his thing, he wanted to, I guess he wanted to give me a scholarship, but I remember him telling me one thing, that I didn't do enough when I didn't have the ball in my hand. And that really is one of the things that he told me. So I really tried to learn from that and make sure that I was doing everything I can when I didn't have the ball. That's whether it is, blitz pickup or running down the field, blocking for a receiver and stuff like that. I think that was it, is that my high school team wasn't known for football, and, I mean, they didn't know where to put me.